discussion on epistemic fallacy. In this video, I will talk you through the different logics of inquiry used in critical realism. And the first point I want to make here is connected to the distinction previously made between ontology, epistemology, and methodology. So critical realism advocates for ontological realism, epistemological relativism, and methodological specificity and eclecticism, which is just a different way of saying that reality exists independently from the observer, or from their understanding of it, that whatever knowledge one philosophy of science can produce is in principle fallible, so subject to epistemic fallacy, and that a wide, diverse range of methods is required to produce complementary insights, but more importantly, to create a space that is open for debate, for critique, and further discovery. For no single theory can claim absolute truths or complete explanations. And so their methods have to be specific and always make their processes and underlying assumptions explicit. Now, a logic of inquiry is a system of reasoning which underpins knowledge generation through scientific methods. You may already be familiar with induction and deduction, which entail making inferences from empirical observations to more general regularities. This is induction. And conversely, from general law-like regularities to specific cases. This is deduction. An additional logic, which was first described by Charles Sanders Peirce in the 19th century, is abduction, a mode of reasoning akin to a tentative explanation for a new or puzzling phenomenon that cannot be explained by previous knowledge. So it is a new explanatory avenue that is then put to test via retroduction, which is another logic of inquiry used in critical realism, entailing a back and forth between inductive and deductive inferences until the best out of all competing hypotheses that could be applied for our case is supported by the available data which are necessarily analyzed in an iterative way. So we look at data in multiple and different ways, depending on the hypotheses or potential explanation that we are pursuing. In this sense, abductive reasoning appeals to the creativity of the researcher because it requires more complex inferential processes, which can also account for exceptions from the general rule that we assume. And for the same reason, abduction in and of itself is not enough to articulate a comprehensive explanation. Retroductive analysis is necessary to identify which premises must be true in order for the events that we observe or infer to happen, or to happen as they do. Although sometimes used interchangeably, abduction and retroduction are actually different yet complementary modes of reasoning, in that abductive judgments are abstractions from the data, providing a starting point for retroductive inferences, while the latter inform the tenability of these abductive judgments. Critical realism also employs retrodiction, which goes a few steps further than retroduction and looks at applied explanations across multiple cases, resolving conjectures at a higher level of abstraction. Importantly, retrodiction also allows researchers to see where the elements interact in ways that are not predicted by theory. So in short, abduction suggests possible causal mechanisms. Reproduction identifies these mechanisms by going back and forth between data and abductive judgments, and retrodiction analyzes how these mechanisms interact in specific cases, thus enhancing our causal explanations. You can read more on this, and I've added here a few resources for you. Thank you.